Hey, I'm Dr. Amy Myers, and today I'm talking to you about fats and oils that are autoimmune friendly and approved for the Myers Way. Many of these are featured in my newest cookbook, the Autoimmune Solution Cookbook. Now, the problem with most fats that we see on the market is that they're industrially processed and full of chemicals, which means that they are highly inflammatory. In fact, many people in the health community believe that it is these industrial chemicals coming from seeds like soy and corn that are also GMO that are responsible for many of the health issues that so many people are facing today. The only sort of positive thing that I can say about industrial seed oils is that they do have what is called a high smoke point, meaning that they can withstand very high temperatures when you're cooking and frying, which is why they're being used. However, the problem with that is that they break down when they're heated, and then they release even more toxic byproducts. Then when you look at things like nut oils, seed oils, and peanut oils, those can be inflammatory to a lot of people as well with autoimmune conditions. So that's why I recommend that you avoid them. Now, in general, what I would say about an oil, when you are picking a fat or an oil, you always want to, if possible, get it in a glass container because oils are fatty and fats absorb out toxic products from the plastics. So you'll see everything here is in glass except for one, and it's just at this point in time, as far as I know, not available in a glass bottle. But I know you can go to Costco and other big box retailers, and I highly advocate going to those places. However, getting a giant thing of coconut oil or olive oil in a plastic container is not worth the money that you're saving in terms of the risk to your health. Please, please, please get your oils, if possible, and fats in a glass bottle. All right, now let's talk about everybody I have here. First up, we have avocado oil. Now, avocado oil has gained in popularity recently as avocados themselves have, and that's because it has protective carotenoids and vitamin E. It has a very high smoke point, so it's great for cooking. Now, you do need to like the flavor of an avocado because it does have that nice nutty flavor of what I love, avocados. It can be great on salad dressings and just as a topper if you enjoy that type of flavor. Personally, I do. Avocados are one of my favorite foods. And because it comes from an avocado, you can also use it as an all-natural moisturizer. All right, next up is our friend, Mr. Coconut Oil. You're probably all familiar with coconut oil. In fact, if you're watching this video, you probably already cook with coconut oil. Now, coconut oil is very versatile. It's anti-inflammatory. It has a medium to high smoke point, which makes it really good for cooking. But it has a coconut flavor. So if you don't like coconut, you might be thinking, what else can I do? Well, I have some other alternatives here for you. But quickly before we get there, this is a great fat that also can be added into things like smoothies if you're just looking to get some extra fat for energy to keep you feeling full, if you're doing a ketogenic diet, if you're doing an autoimmune paleo diet. It's a really great oil. It's wonderful if you're cooking with it, with baking, and also just to grease the pans when you're making a bread or muffins, which I have tons of recipes for in my newest book, The Autoimmune Solution Cookbook. And like our friend coconut oil, it's great for skin. I know many people who use it just as a skin moisturizer. In fact, it's what we used on our daughter Elle right when she was born. Next up is another familiar face, Mr. Olive Oil. Now, this has become, I don't even want to say popular recently. I've been eating olive oil since I was a child. Growing up, we had a big salad every single day. I write a lot about my mom and the salads she used to make, and I have some incredible recipes in my cookbook. But we always had a bottle of olive oil sitting right on our table to use for salad dressing. And then my father had one off to the side on the kitchen counter for cooking as well. Now, people who use and eat olive oil have longer life expectancies. It's widely used in Mediterranean countries. It lowers your risk of heart disease, high blood pressure, and even stroke. It's a powerful anti-inflammatory and has wonderful antibacterial benefits. And it's, of course, ideal for your gut. Now, it doesn't have the highest smoke point, so you do need to be careful when you're cooking just to make sure that you are not heating it too high, because if you do, it can become toxic. Now, things to know, there was a big scandal recently about, is your olive oil really olive oil? So things to know when you're going to choose an olive oil. Please make sure it's organic, extra virgin olive oil. Always avoid light olive oils. It's not 100% olive oil if it says light olive oil. You want to make sure it's in a dark bottle just like this one, because the light can affect it. Now, we love using it in salad dressings, cooking with it at not super high heats. Again, something that you can use on your skin as well. And some people even just simply drink it for the benefits. Next up, we have palm shortening. Now, this has been a real game changer in terms of baking and cooking, doing it in an autoimmune friendly way. And certainly if you're somebody who doesn't enjoy the flavors of, say, coconut oil, this has been a wonderful substitute in baking. You know, back several years ago when I first wrote my first book, The Autoimmune Solution, I was using almost exclusively coconut oil. And if you've ever baked with it, it can be delicious. But if you're not really a fan of coconut, it definitely imparts that flavor into your cakes and your cookies and your bread. So the palm shortening has been a wonderful addition because it's shelf stable, and most importantly, it's very neutral in its flavor. In fact, my daughter just recently celebrated her first birthday, and I used this in the cupcakes that I made for her birthday, as well as the icing. And that recipe is in my cookbook, The Autoimmune Solution Cookbook, so be sure to check it out. So it has a really firm texture, and it's almost like a butter or a margarine. I hate to use the word margarine because it's such a no-no, but it's like a butter, but it stays more stable than that. But it doesn't contain any trans fats, and like I said, it's a real game changer when it comes to baking with autoimmune friendly recipes. The only downside that I would say about this is that it's not in glass. So maybe Nutuvia, one day you'll move over to glass and we'll be happy campers. All right, next up we have sesame seed oil. Sesame seed oil is made by toasting the sesames and then pressing it into an oil. It's a great source of vitamin E, magnesium, zinc, calcium, iron, and copper. Definitely you want to be buying cold pressed organic golden brown, not the yellowish ones, not the light ones. Make sure it's in a glass bottle, and know that this has a very low smoke point. So I typically don't cook too much with the sesame seed oil. This is much better for adding a nutty flavor into an Asian dish, into an Asian salad, into any type of salad. And again, you could use it on your body as well if you don't mind the nutty smell or flavor of that. So sesame seed oil is just really great if you're kind of craving that Asian flavor. This is the one you want to go to. All right, next up is something that is really, really new to the market, and maybe you've never even heard of it. It sounds a little funny, but hump fat. It comes from camels. So it's rich in vitamin B12. It has a high smoke point, and it's kind of our sister to coconut oil, but it doesn't have that coconut flavor. It, like the palm oil or palm shortening, has no real flavor to it. So if you're looking for something with a high smoke point and doesn't have a lot of flavor to it, this is the one that you'll want to go to. And this comes from my friends over at Desert Farms. My daughter's been drinking camel's milk after she was weaned off of breast milk, and they were kind enough to send me a bottle of hump fat. Next up, we have animal fat. Now, this is actually my thing of bacon grease left over from us cooking bacon. So the lard or fat coming off of an animal, like hump fat, has incredibly high smoke points. So it can be really good for cooking. And if you want to impart that bacon flavor, who doesn't love bacon, onto any dish, it's a great thing to cook with. Also, Epic, which is another company, has various types of lards or tallows available at most mainstream grocery stores now as well. If you don't want to save yours from cooking, you can buy some fresh from them, and it does come in a glass jar. And last up, if you're somebody who can tolerate dairy, ghee is one of my go-tos if you're really missing dairy. Now, ghee is clarified butter. So the part of dairy that I really ask people to get rid of is the whey and the casein, and that has been clarified out. With the ghee, it's been heated and heated and heated and cooked off so that you're left with just the butter fat. So ghee is very classically used in Indian countries. I discovered this while I was in India. Personally, I can tolerate a little ghee, and that can be wonderful for cooking and baking if you can tolerate it. I hope you've enjoyed a quick rundown on some of my favorite fats and oils, my go-tos that I used in the Autoimmune Solution Cookbook, and my go-tos that I use for myself and with my family when I'm cooking here in my kitchen.